Good morning. Happy Mother's Day. Oftentimes we look at the Proverbs 31 woman on Mother's Day and we talk about how much of a boss she was. She had her own business. We talk about how great of a mom she was. We talk about how great of a wife she was. She had the whole package. Everybody looked at her and was like, man, she's amazing. Everybody gave her praises. Her kids spoke well of her. Her husband spoke well of her. People spoke well of her husband because of her. Man, who wouldn't want a woman like that? Who wouldn't want to be a woman like that, right? And so we look at that and like, man, we try to encourage women. Go ahead, man. This type of woman you want to be. If you're this type of woman, man, you sure are a good woman. You are a Proverbs 31 woman. But for me, the highlight in that chapter of Proverbs starts at verse 1. In verse 1, what's happening is we find out that this is information, or these are words of wisdom that's given to a son from his mother. King Lemuel, believed to be Solomon, which means this would be words from Bathsheba to Solomon, who had a lot of issues with women, right? And so she's lacing them up with game. And in the first verse, it talks about this being an oracle from his mom who taught him. That word oracle is interesting in the Hebrew. It's like burden. So this is the burden that was given to Solomon from his mom. And it says who taught him. That word taught means to admonish or to discipline. So in that very first verse, she's putting a strong hand down. So she's giving him something that's a burden, and it's an admonishment, which means it's something that he needs to hearken to. And in verse 2, she goes on and she says, my son. And it's a question mark, or oh, what my son? Then she goes, oh, what son of my womb? And then she says, oh, what son of my vow? And when you look at that, first she just like, son. And he's like, yeah, mom. And she's like, man, you are my son, right? And then she says, son of my womb. He's like, yes, mom. He's like, no, man, 25 hours of labor, these stretch marks, all the ridicule, people who told me I should abort you, all the pain that I went through of my womb, you out of me, you come from me. I made you. Yes, mom. Son of my vow. Okay, mom. No, I sacrificed me for you. And I sacrificed you to God. That's why your name means belong to God. Lemuel. Yes, mom. And then she starts to lace him up with game, right? And then she tells him how he should act and how he should respond and what he should do and what he shouldn't do. And she's just giving him game. What I want to encourage mothers out there today is to sit down with your kids and give them game. Lace them up with wisdom. It's not going to always taste good. It's not going to always feel good. And they may push back a little bit. But remind them, you are my son or my daughter. I made you 25 hours, 24 hours, 7 hours, how many ever hours it was of birth. I made you. I pushed you out. I have the stretch marks. I did that. And I made a vow, not only to you and to myself, but to God, to make sure I pointed you in the right direction. And so point your kids in the right direction. They may not like it. It may not be something that's comfortable for them to hear. But when they are old, they shall not depart. Happy Mother's Day. I appreciate all of you moms. It is not easy being a mother of children, especially in this day and age. These younger kids are off the chain. You just keep putting your hand in God's hands. You keep one foot in front of the other. You keep studying his word, see what God says and how God deals with his children so that you can know how to deal with your children. Happy Mother's Day, you guys. I love you. Peace. And as always, West up.